Hi, folks. Welcome. We are going to wait just a couple more minutes to let more folks join us, and then we'll get started. As you'll see, Adelaide put in the chat, if you wouldn't mind changing your name and putting your location. If you want, you can put it in the chat here, just so we have a sensibility and idea of who's in the room today. Awesome. We'll wait just one more minute and then I'll get started. It's nice to see some familiar faces and some new faces. All right, we're at 4:35. Hi, everyone. My name is Dominique Enriquez. I'm the Executive Director with the Arts Education Alliance of the Bay Area. I'm excited to be here with you all, co-presenting with Create California. Katya and Adelaide, if you want to take a second to introduce yourselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katya. I am the Arts Now Program Associate for Create California. I've been at Create for about 7 months now, and it's been great. I have a background in museum and art gallery, specifically in museum education. I was previously at the Museum of Contemporary Art here in Los Angeles, where I'm currently based, as a field trip coordinator, assisting in their school programs, and I'm happy to continue advocating for arts education with you all today. And I'll popcorn it to Adelaide.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here with you today. I'm Adelaide Kuhn, and I'm Program Director at Create California. And just want to say thanks so much to Dominique for organizing this presentation today.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the Centering Youth Voices in an Inclusive Coalition webinar. I'm super excited to present today as our organization continues to work on what youth co-leadership can look like in an inclusive coalition. Today we're going to hear from youth leaders and their co-conspirators about their firsthand experiences with youth leadership from across the state. First up, we'll hear from presenters in Northern California, from Shamiksha Lingen, a high school senior at Hayward Unified, Pabi Constantino, a former Hayward Unified student and current youth advocate, and Mina Mangawala, Hayward Unified teacher on special assignment. And they're coming from Hayward Unified School District. After that, we'll hear from Maya Steingrud from LA Unified, and Amir Whitaker, who's the Senior Policy Counsel at ACLU of Southern California. We hope after today's webinar, you'll come away with resources and strategies to further pursue youth co-leadership in your own spaces and communities. We're going to try to fit in a lot in a short amount of time, so I'm just going to jump right in. Our agenda today is we'll hear from our speakers. If we have time, we'll do a quick little Q&A so you can hear a little bit informally about their experience. And then we're going to go into breakout groups so that you'll have more one-on-one time with our presenters so that you can ask more pointed questions on your own. Then we'll come back for some share out and wrap up. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We'll hear from our Hayward team because I saw Samiksha is here. Nice to see you. Samiksha, Mina, and Pabi work together to initiate the Hayward Arts Advocacy Initiative, and I will go ahead and let them take it away.
Hi, everybody. I hope everyone's having a good day. I'm Pabi, and my partner is Samiksha, and we both come from the Hayward Unified School District. Samiksha, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Samiksha, or Samiksha. A lot of people say Samiksha, but Samiksha is also fine.
And as Dominique mentioned, I'm a senior at Hayward High School, and this is my second year as an SVL or Student Voices leader, and I'm really excited to continue this work with Pabi and share this presentation with you all.
Yeah. So next slide, please. Okay, so just more of who we are. So like I said before, I'm Pabi. I attended Mount Eden High School in Hayward Unified School District, as mentioned before. And I'm currently a college student studying nursing in North Dakota. It's currently snowing right now. It's our first snowfall. It's really cool. But yeah, so the reason why I was interested in becoming an SVL for Create California was because of kind of a personal story that I had when I was younger. So when I was younger, I think in about the third, fourth, fifth grade, somewhere along that, we had a music program, and I used to play the violin. And that was something that was really special to me because my parents, our financial situation wasn't the best. But at school, I was able to access free and, free accessible music education. But the next year, I noticed that they didn't have that program anymore. And that's just a general trend that I've noticed in the Hayward Unified School District, mostly among middle school and elementary schools, which we will mention later on why that is important. But personally, I just wanted to advocate for equal accessibility to music programs, not just music programs actually, but like just also arts programs in general. So providing that access in a public school, I feel like is really important, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I'll go next. Hi, everyone. Again, my name's Samiksha, and I'm a current high school senior at Hayward High School. I typically refer to myself as sort of like a STEAM person. So like I really enjoy like math subjects and like science and things like that. But I'm also really passionate about arts education. And very similar to Pabi, that sort of started for me in elementary school. I actually also played violin in my school's orchestra. And I was in my school's choir as well. So I developed a love of music really early in my life. And I also played Carnatic violin from the time I think I was like 8, and then I actually stopped going to classes really recently, unfortunately, but it was a really fun time in my life, and it provided me with sort of this outlet to like express myself. And yeah, I was just able to develop like such a big love for the arts, and playing Carnatic violin, which is like a traditional sort of Indian type of violin, also helped me to connect more with like my roots and my culture, which was also a really nice experience. And then as an elementary school student, I was also really involved in theater and drama, and I loved acting with my friends, and arts, or like the arts in that sense, also gave me a way to spend more time with my friends and get closer to them. And so, yeah, like Pabi, that sort of inspired me to want to share that experience with other students and allow them to have that experience as well. And I think allowing students to have access to the arts at such a young age especially is so important, because they build skills that can be transferred not just to the arts but to different areas in their lives even outside of school, and I think that's just so important. And yeah, in high school I was in choir for my sophomore year, and then after that I think like the arts were sort of treated as like some sort of credit requirement. So yeah, I didn't really have enough space in my schedule to do the arts or continue with that, but it was such a fun time in my life. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And there's like a different part of our presentation where we talk more about that. But yeah, I think a lot of experiences in my life have sort of made me really passionate about arts education. And again, like I'm really excited to share that with you all through this presentation.
So I can explain a little bit more about our accomplishments. So number one, which was phase one of our project, we had to recognize that there was a problem. And like I mentioned before, elementary school students and middle school students were really like a big like target group that we wanted to address, just because we noticed, as we mentioned from personal experience, that middle school students and elementary school students didn't necessarily get as thoroughly funded arts programs as high school students. And so we recognized that the problem kind of was like that disparity between access to arts between those two schools and high schools. And so the second phase of our accomplishment, or what we did next, was we had to get this concern out, because how are you able to solve a problem if you don't address it? So the second part was we made a public comment, and we also made sure to reach out to local arts advocacy leaders. One of them is Mina and also Winda. And that kind of goes with like our step 3. And Samiksha, if you wanted to kind of explain like your role in this too, because I know that you made a video presentation kind of surrounding this.
Yeah, so adding on to what Pabi said about the public comment that we made, this is just kind of like a fun fact about that. But I think we like planned out our public comment like I think either like a day or like a couple hours before we were set to like make that public comment. So it was a really like impulsive sort of decision that we made, but I think it was a really good decision. We were able to get the word out about our plans and our passion for arts education in our district. And then later on, towards the end of the school year last year, Mina invited me to contribute to a presentation that she and a couple of her colleagues were doing for our school board. And I decided to make a video for that because I couldn't attend in person. And if you'd like, you can check out the link that Adelaide put in the chat. Thank you so much for that. But yeah, it's just a 1-minute video sort of explaining like my passion personally for arts education and the plan that we have, which we'll mention later and go into more detail later as well. And yeah, so these contacts that we had with Mina and Winda, I believe Pabi, you knew Winda through like other events and things like that. So that was really nice to sort of build that connection or like strengthen that connection. And then Mina was introduced to us through Chantal and Caitlin, who are our mentors as like in the SBL program. And so that was really nice to like make connections with leaders in our district and our community who were familiar with FAPA education and were also interested in supporting our efforts. And then Pabi, did you want to say part 4?
Yeah, so basically part 4 was that we took all of our ideas and collaborated around with Mina, with Winda, and also our SBL, or not SBL, but Create California coordinators, Chantal, and also Caitlin. And we basically made a 1-pager of our plan of what we wanted to do about the issue. And also, Mina, if you wanted to like kind of, I guess, explain like your part too.
Sure. Thank you so much. I love this partnership. I love having student voices as a part of what's happening in our district. I think it's a piece that is crucial, but not always heard when it comes to implementing arts education plans in school districts. So I really feel like once we have connected and we've talked about the plan, what my role has been is really facilitating other connections, helping with navigating the systems of a school district, keeping students informed, keeping Pabi and Samiksha informed about things that are coming up, like the presentation that Samiksha recorded was for our phase 2 of our visual and performing arts master plan, which was really exciting. And the school board loved it, and the whole audience in the boardroom that evening, they really loved the presentation because it's important to have that student voice. Also, Winda and I are serving as a sounding board for ideas, and Winda, I can let you speak briefly too about like how you make that community connection. And Winda is an invaluable partner to the Hayward Unified School District in making sure that our students are able to exhibit their work in the community. She has scholarships for students. So there's a way to connect this work from our student voices leaders to the broader Hayward community. Winda, I don't know if you want to share anything briefly. Thank you. You're muted, Winda. She doesn't have sound. She just let me know she doesn't have any sound. But Winda works with the Hayward Arts Council, and again has been this partner with our school district since day one and before of our Visual and Performing Arts Master Plan, and was supporting students the whole time along the way. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so the next step of our plan. So basically just to, I guess, summarize what our plan was in the one pager, our response to increasing accessibility comes in a more like small scale effort of just starting coalitions within elementary school and middle school students. And we also thought to include high school students, like just as like, I guess, models and role like I guess a mode of influence. But basically we want to start like student-led coalitions in like ideally every middle school and elementary school, but it's going to start off with the program or the schools with, I guess, the most affluent programs, and then slowly going to expand to hopefully all of the district. But basically we're going to have these student-led coalitions and have like teachers as allies. And what we were planning to do in these coalitions was to just talk about like arts programs that were or just arts opportunities that were like local, because Hayward Unified School District does have a lot of wonderful opportunities, but it's the publicizing part that might be a little bit of a challenge to students accessing the arts. Like for example, I was very involved in volunteering for the Hayward Arts Council. And I think that if more students like knew about it in these coalitions, the more like students would be involved. So even though like they might not have like stable art programs right now, at least they're exposed to, you know, some sort of arts influence. And if Samiksha, you want to like add anything to that?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, I probably mentioned like a lot of really important things about our plan and kind of summarized it really well. But I also wanted to add that we want to make sure that these coalitions that we're establishing are student-led. So initially, teachers would be leading these coalitions and get students involved and sort of like train them to support each other and make public comment and do a lot of the things that we as student voices leaders do now. But over time, students would sort of take charge and sort of be able to lead these coalitions and lead one another. And this is really important because we want to make sure that they're by students for students and student-led, because a lot of the time in discussions about our education, not just our arts education, but our education overall, students aren't necessarily or aren't always directly considered. And a lot of times they don't have the opportunity to say like, oh, I specifically want this, or talk directly to district leaders. And so it's really important that teachers provide those connections to district leaders and provide that pathway for students to sort of speak up and let their voices be heard directly by district leaders, instead of it just being adults or people who may not necessarily feel the impacts of the decisions being made. And yeah, so overall, we're just asking that teachers find students who are interested in establishing coalitions and interested in advocating for their arts education. And yeah, we hope that it spreads throughout our district, and hopefully it can expand to other districts as well, because this isn't only an issue in our district.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pabi, Samiksha, and Mina. And Winda, thank you for being here, because I know you played a big part. Hayward Unified is so lucky to have your leadership, and in doing the planning together, it was just very obvious the amount of mutual respect that's held for having you being a part. So I appreciate you being here today. We're going to move on to our next presenters, Amir Whitaker and Maya Shtun. Where are you, Maya? And
Hi, y'all.
Yes. And Amir, I'll have you take it away.
Sure. Afternoon, and thank you to the students and, you know, Alliance members in Haywood showing that inspirational work. My name is Amir Whitaker, he, him, his. I'm a senior policy counsel with the ACLU of Southern California. So we're based down here in Los Angeles. And I'll pass it to Maya to introduce herself as well.
Hey everybody, I'm Maya Stongard, and I'm a junior in Granada Hills Charter High School in the Valley in LA. And I will pass it back to Amir to get started.
Cool. And we have the link available to this presentation there on the first slide. So Maya is a part of our Youth Liberty Squad, which you can see in the pictures there. And Maya, you want to talk about who the Youth Liberty Squad is and how you came into it?
Absolutely. So the Youth Liberty Squad is a group of students based in LA who, is a part of ACLU SoCal. And this group basically comes together where we learn about organizing different social justice topics and work with, ACLU lawyers and advocates and organizing partners in order to create different campaigns and action that we want to take to advocate or change certain issues that we see within our communities. So how I got started with this was I was really interested since I was little. I was really interested in arts advocacy and making arts accessible to all. As other students might have mentioned, when I was little, I also didn't have as much access to the arts. And this kind of made me, why couldn't I be a part of the orchestra because I didn't own an instrument? Or why couldn't I be a part of the dance program because it was canceled because there weren't enough people interested? So from this, from this desire to help others and to increase arts access for people like me to have access to the arts, I became involved with the Youth Liberty Squad and ACLU of SoCal, and really got invested in their arts justice work. So what we're going to go over is the arts justice resolution that was passed and how I jumped in on the movement to implement this and create the Arts Advisory Council. And I'll pass it back.
Thanks for that, Maya. Yes, and as you can see there, our students in the Youth Liberty Squad, they not only use arts, fight for arts education, but we also teach art. Our students drum, paint, and different things. And you can see there, students did a mask making session, which right here, I'm actually wearing Maya's mask that she did as well. And we did this last year for Dia de los Muertos and allowed students to, share masks to honor their ancestors. And we asked students to share more about their ancestors and learn that our Youth Liberty Squad members, actually, we have students from like over 15 different countries when it comes to ancestry and roots. And Maya, you want to just really quick share what your mask was about?
Okay, yeah. My mask was because our masks were about like our ancestry and our culture and how that ties with arts. Because my family's from Ukraine and I strongly identify with our culture from there, I made a mask having to do with our practices, like like a flower veil that we wear, and colors that are inspired by the flag, which, as you might know, is yellow and blue. So I combined a couple of the floral themes and the color to kind of represent my culture and my ties to it. And a lot of students did that as well, taking inspiration from their cultural practices, the flags of their countries that they identify with, and other things that they feel strongly with, and they created beautiful masks that really portray their identity.
Yes, and art, is culture and allows for everyone's culture to be represented. That was definitely, a strong assignment there. Next slide, please. So as mentioned, arts justice is something, first about arts education access and then arts in social justice. And I don't have time to talk about the articles there, but those are two articles that I wrote talking about arts as a civil right and the arts justice movement. And then the next slide also has one more article, but this one's written from the perspective of a student. Can we go to the next slide? And my apologies if you hear the airplane flying above, but this was one of our first arts justice fellows who was actually from San Francisco up there, Sonia, who started the Arts Justice Council, who wrote an article that you all can read later as well. But I would just, before I pass it back to Maya to talk about the Arts Justice resolution, I want to talk a little bit more about what Sonia helped to start, which now actually Maya is a part of the leader of it. But so the next slide shows, that Sonia started this initiative called The Road to Find, this digital arts journal where students can use art and social justice and talk about things. So we've had issues about making Black Lives Matter, about voting rights, about mental health rights, about women's rights and different things. And students can plug in at theroadtofind.com. Next slide. And this was something actually that we worked with some of you on too, that Sonia was a part of. And I believe this was 2 years ago. Caitlin was a part of it as well. Peace, Caitlin. Where we had an Arts Justice Town Hall virtually in Northern California. But I just wanted to plug a book that's going to be released in 6 months that tells Sonia's Arts Justice story that students can read as well. It's called Don't Wait, 3 Girls Who Fought for Change and Won. And it's published by Penguin Press. So it's a huge publisher that's talking about this arts justice movement here in California with students that they led. And then the next slide, I believe we're going to go to the Arts Justice Resolution. Yes. So passing it back to Maya to talk about what the Arts Justice Resolution was and what it did and what's happening with it.
Thank you, Mir. So the Arts Justice Resolution is a resolution that was created, I think, about a year ago or 2 years ago, and was passed recently a year ago in May. And this resolution basically covers and creates groundwork for creating a better arts education in LAUSD. So one of our past Youth Liberty Squad members, Natalie, created a resolution that talked about creating more data having to do with the arts, creating a arts advisory council and other things that would help lay the groundwork for other resolutions that would eventually help make a better arts education in LAUSD. And what this did was not only created data, but also set the groundwork for us to create an arts advisory council, which I mainly helped establish. And that's the picture up there is actually the day that the resolution passed. The person who created it, Natalie, and a lot of other Youth Liberty Squad members went there and supported the resolution. We gave public comment, and it almost passed unanimously. So if we can move on to the next slide. Great. So there has been a lot of issues having to do with implementation of this resolution. Although it passed almost unanimously, we have had a lot of trouble getting the data first that the resolution outlined, and also creating the Arts Advisory Council that it stressed as very important in creating a better arts education in LAUSD. So Youth Liberty Squad, with the help of ACLU, created a couple letters that we sent to the board members of LAUSD. So as you can see here, we first wrote it in August after we realized that nothing was really being done about the resolution and nothing was really being implemented. So we first sent that email out, kind of explaining our issues having to do with, how it's not being implemented, other issues that we see within arts education in LAUSD, pointing that out and hopefully, creating conversation in order to make that change and set it on the right course. However, we didn't hear a reply at all. So we sent another one in December because that's how long it had been without any communication, kind of reminding them of the same things that we said before, outlining, here's the resolution said that you have to get back to us within like 120 days, giving us the data, giving us all of these things, and yet you didn't. So we made sure to make the board members aware of this. We gave them an outline of what we need to do, how we need to cooperate and work together in order to implement the resolution, and that still didn't happen. So, and if we can move on to the next slide. So basically what happened was that in January, I believe, of this year, I reached out with the help of Amir and ACLU. We reached out to Titus Campos, which was he was appointed as the arts board leader. And Amir, correct me on that if that's his title.
Yep, he's the director of the arts branch in LAUSD. So all arts education and services are in his department.
Exactly. So he was the person to contact, and finally he was able to get, part of the resolution implemented and set into motion. And that's what the Arts Advisory Council is. Basically, this group of students, teachers, community leaders, and organizations and other community members are able to gather together on this Zoom call. And once a month, we talk about any changes that can be made to LAUSD policy, how we can work together to shape and create policy, and hopefully work together with the LAUSD board in order to create a better arts education system within LAUSD.
And I'm happy to share, Maya, this is something you may not know, but you are officially elected the first co-chair of the Arts Advisory Council in the LAUSD, where we just got the votes in, and this is a body that will be governed by both a student and teacher as co-chairs, and this is the first body or council that has this sort of structure where a student is in leadership. So let's make some noise and give a huge shout out to Maya and her leadership, and congratulations, Maya. And now tell us. Yeah. So now one of the last things to talk about is just share a little bit about Arts Justice Fest.
Yeah, so Arts Justice Fest is, it started in 2022, as you can see on the slides. Basically, this was a gathering of students across LA, and it was created by the Youth Liberty Squad. We basically created a exhibition of artworks from students across LA and California, any submissions that we could get our hands on, and we put it up in this gallery generously provided by Tim Disney. Within this gallery, we had artworks spanning different topics. So one that we had this year was AAPI, another one was elementary art from elementary schools, and we had different exhibitions about certain subjects that students wanted to talk about and present through art. And within this fest, we were also able to create workshops. So students, based on their individual interests having to do with art or advocacy, were able to present, a workshop and kind of guide students through experiencing a workshop, which allowed us to come together as a community, which was our subject of the theme this year. And let me know if I'm missing anything about our explanation here.
Nope, I think that's good, Maya. And I just want to share something else you did, right? You've hosted film festivals every year, so she's hosted 2 annual film festivals with student submissions, both years. Maya's a filmmaker as well. And she brought her skills to our Youth Liberty Squad in ACLU. And I'm dropping something in the chat right now because Maya also broke our record and broke the internet with this viral video she created and directed that right now has over 600,000 views, thousands of comments and different things. And that was Maya applying her filmmaking skills and student leadership. And now what's ACLU's most viral video in the history of ACLU. So thank you again for that, Maya. And 3rd annual film festival coming up again with Maya as well. And we have other slides in here, but I know we've been talking long enough. So I'll just pass it back for Maya for any last conclusion things, and then we can pass it back.
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered our, impact in the arts community. As you can see here, we don't just focus on advocating for arts access, but also use art to advocate for other topics such as mental health, healing, and other subjects that students want to delve into in their advocacy. And basically what the ACLU is all about and what Youth Liberty Squad is all about is incorporating arts, not just trying to get access for it, but using it in all its, assets, disciplines, in order to fight for what we think is right. And I'll pass it back so we can continue our discussion.
That's really incredible. Thank you so much, Maya and Amir. Before we do any thank yous and closing, I'm wondering if 1 or 2 folks just wanted to share out any highlights or aha moments or takeaways.
Well, I would like to shout out for Maya and let everyone know that her 3rd film festival will be hosted by the Grammys.
That's incredible. Awesome. Congratulations. Very exciting. Maybe one more from our Hayward group. Did anybody have anything they wanted to share before we close? Winda?
Winda Shimizu here. I'm the director of Hayward Arts Council, and I'm so excited to be here today. And I wanted to congratulate our students for being so amazing and for their insightful information, for their commitment to their communities. And Mina and I are very, very excited to partner with all of you, and because we have been direct result of the collaboration with Create California for many years now. And thank you to all of you for giving us this opportunity. So thank you again.
Thank you. Can we all give a shout out to our youth advocates? Thank you so much, and to their co-conspirators. It's so special to all be in a room together today. I'm gonna hand it off to Katya for a little bit of closing before we wrap up.
Thank you, Dominique. So, yeah, thank you so much to our youth advocates for presenting today, and for Dominique for facilitating the conversation. We have our next virtual event called Share Your Message, Communications and Public Building for Advocacy. So once again, thank you so much to Pabi, Mina, and Shamiksha, Maya, and Amir, and lastly to Dominique for facilitating and presenting this conversation today. And thank you all for joining us. Bye.